Hello, Gemini Risings. How are you? How's it going? Here's your June 2023 forecast. Happy birthday, by the way. We all deserve this. We've been waiting for this. And I acknowledge you because, as some of you know, I am a Gemini and I have some other planets there. And this is our month, okay? We never get the props that we deserve. We get it this month, okay? And if no one's going to give it to us, we're going to give it to ourselves. June 3rd? Is interesting though, because we start off with a full moon in our opposite sign of Sagittarius. I think this is an interesting day here because of mutability, and we're so used to being this way. For all the fixed energy in the sky right now, the planets that deal in that Pluto in Aquarius, Mars in Leo, Jupiter in Taurus, creating a lot of tension in the skies and in charts. I think here this Sagittarius full moon gives a little bit of uplifting visionary quality when it comes to our relationship life in the part of your chart that deals with partnerships and relationships. And these are relationships of all kinds. I also want to point out that the planet that rules Gemini, Mercury, was still in Taurus at this point after almost 2 months of being in the sign of Taurus, went through a retrograde, has come out of it. But on this day of the full moon, Mercury is applying together in a conjunction with Uranus and Taurus. And here is an electric mind play here, erratic, unpredictable, interesting full moon when it comes to communicating. So I just want you to understand this illumination of the Sagittarius new moon in your house of relationships is happening that day, and Mercury is around with Uranus setting things off. Jupiter is also involved in this story, being in Taurus. So there's an interesting elevated conversation here where we can expect surprises. When we get to June 5th, which is 2 days later, Venus, the planet that deals with love and relationships and harmony and how we are with our resources and money, enters the sign of Leo. And this is important because, to me, Venus going into Leo is one of the most important transits of the year. The reason being is Venus will eventually go retrograde in Leo and will be in the sign of Leo from June all the way to October. This is a big deal. This is happening in the part of your chart which I think flows for you, actually, which deals with our immediate surroundings, our friends, and how we engage with our immediate surroundings. And not only that, how we quickly think about things in those surroundings or with friends. A lot of times it happens through those vessels. And Venus and Leo here is going to bring your relationships, in a sense, into the fold when we're dealing with those types of things. Sometimes it's your relationships with your neighbors or who's around you. Sometimes it's just how you move around in your immediate surroundings, where the place of your home is. This part of the chart deals with short-term journeys, so on and so forth. By Venus eventually going retrograde in the summer here, we have a makeover happening, a review in how you relate to this area in your life. And it will go through a makeover in a sense. And in a sense, there's expression happening during the retrograde or not. It all has to do with how you express yourself in these areas and how you relate and how you connect in the world of short-term journeys and travel and your friends and neighbors. When we get to June 11th, this is what we've been waiting for. We've had Mercury be in the sign of Taurus for 2 months with a retrograde, and it's Mercury moving slow in Taurus. And for Gemini Risings, just drive you wild because you're ready to pop off. And here, Mercury comes into our world, our home, back to where we are, to Gemini life, where we flow and we're connected to the divine and how things flow through us and through our mind, and how we could juggle multiple ideas and things and opinions and relationships and butterfly around. We need to be free this way to go from here and there. And this is flowing in our world. And I think here, we've been waiting for this for such a long time, not just for the 2 months that Mercury's been in Gemini, but actually we had a huge transit that started last year that was in August of 2022, where Mars entered Gemini for like 7.5 months, and it ended this past March. And Mercury's about to touch that whole story again. Sit in your brain place, keep it focused, and remember to breathe. And if you keep that together, like you when you're balanced and flowing like a Gemini should, you're going to be elevated with your speech, elevated with your ideas, and you will be connecting to the world, and the world will be connecting to you. I'm going to say the same day Pluto who's currently, in a sense, retrograde in Aquarius and started its story in Aquarius in March, will actually start to go back into Capricorn here on June 11th too, for pretty much the rest of the year. And it goes back into a place that deals with like your meditative, rehabilitative place in your life, which is they call the 12th house. This is a place of exile, and sometimes they deal with illness. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's a more quiet, sometimes a review quiet place, and here we want to meditate on. And Pluto's going to work its subconscious story here, and this is something you should be familiar with, because Pluto was there since 2008. It's just coming back there for one last time to remind you of a couple things. That's for a later video. Okay, so when we get to the 18th, another huge bonus. Some other astrologers might not say this, but I will, because on the 18th, 2 weeks now after the full moon that happened in Sagittarius and how I started this video, we have a new moon in Gemini, and we love this, and the world sees it. We see it. We're connected to the world. Mercury's already been there helping this out, like I mentioned earlier, and we want to put ourselves out there. We want to show ourselves. We've been a little bit pushed to the side there the last several months with Mercury being in Taurus and a couple other things that have been happening. And here you're going to flow. I don't think, even if you wanted to hide out, I don't think you could. And this new moon in Gemini is going to flow and enhance your Gemini qualities. When we get to the week after on the 21st, sad day, because the Gemini birthdays end on the 21st, and we go into the Cancer birthdays. But this is the most important part of that week. Is on June 26th, Mercury is already going into the sign of Cancer. Mercury's super speeding up in the sky right now. You could see it was only in Gemini for several weeks, not even that. It flew through there, and it's entering the sign of Cancer. And what this means for you is it starts off a little story from the end of June into July that deals with how you acquire resources and how your connection is to money and wealth and assets and all that kind of stuff, and your more emotional connection to that. Listen, sucks that Mercury's leaving Gemini so fast, but at the same time, I think this is a good thing here when it comes to you. Get out of the cerebralness of your head and give yourself a break after being in Mercury and Gemini, and get into like what your intuitive core is telling you and how that intuition comes out in words and how it connects to the way you acquire resources and how your desires are connected to those resources. All right? First time here? Hit the subscribe channel if you like this, if you made it this far. Check out my website, sparklesofgold.com. Share the video. Make a comment down below, my Gemini Risings. I love it when you do that. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video.